DoorDash and Instacart. Visit mountainliquors.com. Call 865-286-8660. Mountain Liquors, your new favorite stop in the Smokies.
Fireworks! Gorilla fireworks! Gorilla says free fireworks just for stopping in. Free Gorilla for the kids. A free $20 gift. Gorilla Fireworks! The largest selection of Black Cat and M80 brand fireworks. Gorilla Fireworks! The largest selection of mortars and artillery shells. 2 full floors of fireworks shopping fun. Gorilla Fireworks, next to Sexy Stuff on Highway 66, Sevierville.
Tennessee's new mix, 105.5.
Hey, y'all, this is Rodney Atkins, and you're listening to Rick's House. Everything you need to know about home improvement. Here comes Rick.
Saturday morning, take you up in Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. Appreciate you being part of what we do each and every Saturday morning, and makes us happy when you're here. I don't know why that's doing that, but hey, it's joys of radio. Got new leadership at the helm this week.
I don't know if leadership's the right word to describe what I do here.
Well,
but,
we can talk about Skip, we won't do, because he ain't here. He ain't
That's
listening.
right.
Well, he might be listening.
There's a chance, yeah.
Introduce yourself, brother.
My name is Maverick. If you are a listener of our sports programming, you'll recognize the name. Maybe not the voice as much. I do a lot of the behind the scenes work, but I do a lot during the post game show. But maybe a familiar voice, maybe not. But yeah, my name is Maverick, and I'm here for Skip this week.
Yeah, Skip having a little very, very much earned time off, and so we're digging that for him and his family, and that's awesome. So we're all about that. The Maverick's going to do a fantastic job. A nice looking young man, single, by the way. Send pictures and photographs to Rick's house. No. Photographs go to him.
Yeah. I can judge those, but
Yeah.
Rick will do more of like the financial aspect of it and all that stuff. Yeah.
Check out criminal records.
Yeah,
stuff like
background
that,
checks.
background
All that
checks
stuff.
and stuff like that. The rest of that goes to Brother Maverick. Because that's his department. I ain't worried about that. Man, we got so much to talk about today. I am pumped. As usual, the call-in line is open and ready for calls. Y'all are starting to just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's okay. Had a nice lady called in last week that was looking for some roofing estimates, and so we gave her 3 companies to take a look at. Also, I had someone call the station, Brother Bart, yesterday, and he has a foundation issue that he and I had a pretty good conversation about, and I pointed him into the direction of somebody that I know that they're outstanding. I just don't know how busy they are. And then I told myself, if they can't get to it, call me back. Well, I know a couple others, but that was my number one choice, because I've been a sponsor of this program from a long time, and he's since retired, but his son's taken over. So, that's all good. And so we did that. So we got a lot of that. And that's what we do here. So our call-in line is 865-932-7449, 865-932-7449. And if you don't want to come on there, it's okay. You can talk to Maverick. He'll take your information and, or take the question, whatever you are comfortable with. We're happy for that. So now you can also text us at the Miracle Method message line And that number is 865-255-3911. 865-255-3911. Maverick, I had a catastrophe about a week ago.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, in my travel trailer, we had, I ain't pointing fingers, but and it wasn't me and it wasn't my bride, but different people come into your house and they do those things
Right,
if you're
right, yeah.
camping and so forth, and use the restroom and so forth.
course,
and so
yeah.
on. So this is a word of warning, and I'm not going to get into the gory details, but let me tell you something. There is no baby wipe, disinfectant wipe, any kind of wipe. I don't care if it says disposable, biodegradable, will blow up in 3 seconds. I don't care what it says on it. It don't.
Right. Yeah. It just sits there and it clogs you up real good. I'm guessing that's what happened over there.
Yeah. So if you don't believe it, go down on Nayland Drive to the sewer, to KUB sewer thing, and ask them to show you what happens with baby wipes when they make it down there. They're fishing them things out. It's awful. So the way our system is set up where we were was I have a macerator pump that grinds solid so it can go to a smaller tube and up an elevation to get into the tank.
Right.
And then work its way out into the drain field.
Right.
Well, what I didn't realize was that this tank, and I know I've told everybody this, but Maverick hadn't heard the story, but it's leading up to something, I promise. It's leading up to something, I promise. And so sometimes when you do that, you have to add water to the black tank, just depending on how hot it is outside and those kinds of things.
Right.
How it evaporates. And especially if the trailer's not moving. If the trailer's moving, then, it's sloshing and so forth and so on. So that being said, Ron, good morning, brother. Good to see you in there. So that being said, I thought the macerator pump was running fine.
Right.
I could hear it running, and it didn't sound like it was bogging down or nothing. Well, it was running, but it wasn't grinding. So it wasn't pumping any fluid out of that tank, and I'm pumping it full of water.
Right.
Next thing I know, the outlet, which comes out parallel to the ground, all of a sudden that thing popped, and it popped straight up about 3 inches. So I shut everything down and closed the valve and pulled the macerator pump off, and I seen immediately what the problem was.
Yeah.
It was full of baby wipes.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. So when you have a tank that is, water weighs, a gallon of water weighs about 8 pounds. I'm not going to tell you what the other weighs because I don't know and don't want to know. But I'm guessing that 40-gallon tank full weighs about 500 pounds.
It's got to be up there.
Yeah. And so I was coordinating. So I called my new buddy Will, who had heard fantastic things about, at All Clear Plumbing. State licensed, insured, him and another guy that helps him. And you're going to be hearing lots of commercials for Will and Daniel. So I had called him. I talked to him a little bit about getting him on the show, and he does a lot of camping. And so I called him and I said, look, I called Heidi and Josh over at Top Septic, who are fantastic sponsors of this program. And I said, can y'all come out and pump his tank? Well, just anybody can't, if you bring a septic tank truck out to pump a plastic tank and you don't turn the pressure down, it'll collapse that plastic tank.
Yeah.
So you got to know what you're doing. You can't just, you just can't go, all right, I'll get that, and then the tank falls off.
Right.
They said, well, why don't you coordinate with the plumber? It's going to fix it. And we'll get there right before he gets there. We'll clean the tank. It'll be cleaned, and then he can work with it. So that happened just exactly like it's supposed to. Top Septic, you can depend on them. They was there early, matter of fact. old Jimmy got out there, man. He went to working on that thing, and we got it all cleaned out and emptied. Because the other reason I wanted to empty it, because if there's more in there,
You got to get those out.
got to get those
Yeah,
out, or then
absolutely.
you're right back in the same position.
Yeah.
And I was able to take the macerator pump apart and clean it, and it didn't damage it, thank goodness. So anyway, that all being said, so Will shows up, him and Daniel, and so he brought him a tarp because it was raining, got it down, had his tools there, had everything happening. And brother, in about 45 minutes, he had me rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
All back up, better than it was before, everything leveled out, not a leak. All the grommet, the vent pipes put back in, and just, man, because he knows what he's doing.
And that's important.
And that's important. And I'm going to tell you this, he's fair. Ain't nothing wrong with somebody making a good wage,
Not at all.
but he's fair.
Right.
And that's what everybody says about it.
And if I had the job of pumping out a septic system or working with those two, I think I'd want to be paid probably accordingly to the work I was doing, you know?
Yeah, it's relative to the assignment.
Absolutely.
My big hind end wasn't going to get down there and get up underneath there.
Yeah, me neither, man.
But yeah, man, they fixed it back for me. And actually, those things hang from a flange up on the top, and they don't even strap them. So now we've got a pressure treated 2x6, a 2x8 underneath there holding the whole tank from frame to frame, and that's screwed in. And I mean, it's what should have been to start with.
Yeah.
So I can't say enough about him. Now, what his deal is, I mean, he'll do all kinds of things, but he loves to do service. They love to do service. All Clear Plumbing, 865-443-7752. You can find them on Facebook. All Clear Plumbing. Tell them Rick's House sent you. I promise you they'll take care of you. Sebastian, good to see you on there, my brother. That's my French brother from France. Listens to us. He talks to me all the time. I don't know what he's saying, but anyway.
Yeah. That's the best of friends right there. You know, you don't have to know what he's saying.
I'm learning. He's teaching me French, and I didn't even know it. So good stuff on the program. Had that happen today. Also, man, I got 4 pages of notes today. It was just one of those weeks where I got so much stuff to tell you, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to tell you this. My wife loves to kayak.
Yeah.
And when we lived at the ocean in Panama City Beach, we lived across the street from the ocean. So literally you walked out of our front door, walked across a little road, a small road, stepped onto a 150-foot beach lot that was vacant, and then stepped on the beach.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty awesome.
My boys would crab in the mornings and crab in the evenings, and
Yeah.
catch all them crabs, and then we'd either cook them then, or my wife make crab cakes or whatever. So, but anyway, she learned that I bought her a ocean kayak,
Right.
and she loved it because in Panama City Beach where we lived, there was a sandbar about 100, 150, 200 feet out. So she could get in and kayak out there, and then get out and set a chair.
Yeah.
And,
that's pretty cool.
and you're in, knee deep water on the sandbar, and you can see all the tropical fish. Yeah, that's really, really nice. Of course, when my boys got older, they didn't ask. They just figured out that they could take a pickup truck and some rope, tie that kayak to the backside of it, and put football helmets and motorcycle helmets over. And on a rainy day, they could head off through the field and sled with it. But my son-in-law's Chevrolet four-wheel drive pulled them. And I do have a video for those that'd like to see it. But so they tore mom's kayak up. She was not happy.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
She's not happy. So we've been looking we're getting ready to, as it's getting warmer, I want her to be able to do that because she really enjoys it. And while she's doing that, I can be fishing,
That's right.
which makes it even better. So, we've got Lifetime Products over in Mascot, right down the road on Mine Road. And I didn't realize what all they made. Man, they make everything. They make buildings and benches and basketball goals and outdoor furniture and kayaks and fishing kayaks and What are those boards you stand on? I forget what they're called.
Oh yeah,
Paddle
like
boards.
paddle boards. Yeah,
They make all that stuff. Well, they will have every once in a while, they have a warehouse sale because that's the warehouse.
right.
So you can buy stuff at a really discounted rate. Well, I called yesterday. It's a little hard to get to them because the number that's on the website is incorrect. And you'll get a girl and she'll tell you, you're trying to get to the store, and you're like, so they'll give you the number. But their next warehouse sale is June 19th, 20th, and 21st. And so they'll do it for 3 days. She gave me who to talk to about it. I'm going to try to get somebody on from Lifetime to talk about that. But man, if you're looking for a product, they will have that stuff discounted because they're going to new models.
Right. Yeah.
It's brand new.
Yeah.
And you just go over there and there'll be a bunch of people there, but until they run out of them, you can buy a $500 kayak for $250,
right.
kind of deal.
Yeah, my family's big on the kayaks. My mom, my stepdad, and both of my brothers, they go all the time. But I was going to say, like, they do really make everything. You were mentioning all the things they make. I think
Picnic tables, all kinds of stuff.
I think that we had like a picnic table, and I think they made our trampoline. I think they made our basketball goal. I think they make about everything over there.
Crazy big facility. So that's coming up over at Lifetime, June 19th, 20th, 21st. Put that down in the book. And we're going to take that first time out to hear from some of those people that bring you the Rick's House program. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you about a couple things that I found out this week. And we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about windows. We're going to talk about super glue. We're going to talk about deep fakes. We're going to talk about synthetic oil. Maverick.
Yeah.
I got some stuff on that today and talking about what you can burn, what you can't burn.
But you can burn about anything if you try hard enough.
Well, you can, but you shouldn't.
That's right.
So we're going to give you all that information. We're going to have a good Saturday morning. Give us a holler at 865-932-7449, 865-932-7449, or text us on the Miracle Method message line, 865-255-3911. You're listening to Rick's House. We'll be right back.
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811, brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. Let me tell you about my friends at Knox Rail Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Popper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxRailSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite.
Don't wake up in the cold. Let CMG inspect and service your unit for extreme weather before there's a problem. Free estimates and second opinions. CMG Mechanical Services, LLC, 865-770-1561. 865-770-1561. Gas furnaces and heat pumps, new installations, gas lines, and gas log installations as well. CMG Mechanical Services, 865-770-1561.
The all-new Mix 105.5 is looking for 2 great people to join our sales staff. If you are energetic and highly motivated to achieve all the goals you have, we want to talk to you today. Don't let your previous jobs hold you back from finding out how rewarding a position at Mix 105.5 can be. Base plus commission gets you started. Go to Mix1055.com, look for the Work With Us button. Again, that's Mix1055.com and work with us. East Tennessee Radio Group and Mix 105.5 are an equal opportunity employer. Start your new career today, Mix1055.com. Work with us. Do it now.
Love fireworks? Well, this is the job for you. Guerrilla Fireworks. They're hiring salespersons, cashiers, and stockers, offering hiring bonuses of up to $500 in free fireworks, plus cash sale bonuses. And the best part of it all, you get to learn all about and test many new firework items. Part-time and full-time positions available. Flexible schedules. Apply today in person and even start today. Guerrilla Fireworks, Highway 66 Sevierville.
Get ready to feel lucky at Sexy Stuff. Spring is back, and so are the must-have mystery boxes with exciting, colorful toys and surprises. Sexy Stuff on Highway 66 in Sevierville. Join the fun and get lucky. Sexy Stuff. We've got the stuff.
31 years. It is hard to believe that I have been selling real estate here in Sevier County and Douglas Lake for 31 years. Call me, Terry Williams, RE/MAX Preferred Properties, 865-556-4111 or 392-5885.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you, I know a little something about mobility issues. I know a little something about taking care of mom and dad and grandparents and things you do when you're supposed to. That's why I trust Chris and his team at Miracle Method. They've got a safety package. A safety package that converts that tub in your house, but the main thing is it's going to give them an easy step in. It's going to give them grab bars that are added right. It's going to give them the flexibility to have that independence and you the knowledge of knowing that you've taken care of mom and dad. Miracle Method. Find them online today. Miracle Method. 865-693-5522. For safety is a priority. Hey, y'all, being from the country, I've learned one thing for sure. The difference in experience can make the difference between a good job and a bad one. That's why we choose August Excavation for all your excavation needs. Whether it's pouring a footing, laying out a footing, pouring a concrete driveway, excavating a basement, or whatever your excavation needs may be. August Excavating. Call them today, 423-736-1402. 423-736-1402.
Waking up between you and mama every Saturday morning. Lord, it must be a big old bed. You're listening to Rick's House.
Good Saturday morning to you. Hey, you mama and them. Welcome into Rick's House live on 105.5 The Mix. In beautiful downtown Kodak
on the edge of Sevierville. Sevierville. Right down from Pigeon Forgay.
Yeah, Pigeon Forgay. Yep, that's the one.
They're getting ready to turn the smoke on the mountains now. Y'all better pay attention.
We got a bunch of fog machines up there, and that's why they call it.
That's why they call it the Smoky Mountains.
Exactly
hey, good morning, Miss Debbie and Ron and Brother Steve Fowl down in Georgia. Hope y'all doing good. Miss Kathy, hope she's doing good. Rich Newbert, good to see you in there. And Sebastian, and everybody else that's joining us, the rest of y'all that's joining us, listening to us online. If you're visiting our beautiful part of the world, welcome. I'm glad to have you. And you can listen to us online when you go back home, and we can help you wherever you are. We got some neat listeners. Being on the road for so long, 3 years and traveling, we met a lot of nice people. Brother Brian's listening to us this morning. He's in Lacey, Washington State. We get Tim and Cammie out there in Oregon, and some folks in California. Brother Steampunk Johnny, Coffee Man in Bakersfield. So we got some folks out there from all parts of the world. When we traveled, I figured out there's good people everywhere.
Just about, yeah.
There's bad people everywhere.
Yeah, I would say so.
So you got that kind of stuff. One of the things, I made a phone call yesterday, and I haven't heard back yet because it was late and it was Friday. There's a window company in town, and I don't know how long they've been in business, but I want to find out about it. This is the technology. It's Paragon Windows LLC, and it's a UPVC, which UPVC is a type of PVC, more like pipe.
Right.
And the process to mold it is, and I don't know all the particulars of it, but it's my understanding that the process in molding that product is they don't melt it and make it weak. So, typically sometimes vinyl will be weak.
Right.
This is strong. I don't know what the comparison would be to fiberglass.
Right.
But it's more along those lines. But this is a German company, but the products, the supplies are German, but the craftsmanship's American, and they're built. But they have a German style window, it looks like a casement window, which is square,
right?
Not no double hung slides up and down. They may have that, I don't know. And it's got a handle, so you can pull the handle open just a little bit and tilt the wind in from the top for just a minimal amount of ventilation. Or you can turn the handle a little bit more and let it come in a little bit more for ventilation. Or you can turn the handle all the way and open the window up. Like a casement window would open.
Yeah.
And they also do doors, but even on the windows, if I'm not mistaken, they have a 3-point locking system, which I really dig. And they got like 70 colors.
That's a lot of colors you can have for your windows.
A lot of colors you can have for your windows.
I've been to churches with those colors in the windows.
Absolutely. And it's so I've reached out to them. We'll see what happens with that. It's, anytime I see a product that I'm unaware of, and I've sold about every window there is.
Right.
Because that's what part of what I did other than building houses and remodeling. And I sold a lot of roofing and a lot of building materials and a lot of doors and windows and a whole different bunch of companies. And there's some great companies here. We're blessed in this part of the world. But I thought, man, that's more like hospital windows open like that sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what a neat idea. So I want to find out more about that. A buddy of mine who owns an electric company in Panama City Beach, had somebody did an AI deep fake on him.
Yeah.
Man, that's dangerous business.
That's some scary stuff. Yeah.
That is, don't believe everything you see on the internet, folks.
That's right. I've heard people say this has got to be one of the worst times to be famous because you get any bit of notoriety and then all of a sudden there's pictures of you out there doing stuff that you've never done because AI is just able to make you do whatever,
They can copy your voice. They can, copy your image. Boy, we're treading on deep water there. And so just be careful with that. I don't talk too much about cars.
Right.
Because mechanically, I'm challenged.
I hear you.
Now I can remodel your kitchen and I can build you a house and I can help you like with Bart called me yesterday and he's got a foundation wall that's getting under a lot of hydrostatic pressure and it's causing it to shift. And he's got a stair-step crack in it. And then he's got some issues with sidewalks and stuff outside. And so we went through the process of talking about when his house was built. And first thing I told him to look for is to see if it has a French drain around the foundation, to see if it does. And if so, try to find it. The house I grew up in, my dad would go out there, once a year and dig the end of that pipe up where it would get covered in.
Right.
And literally, he'd have to cut the pipe back, and then this big wad of stuff would come out of gravel and dirt and mud. And then the next thing you know, it looks like a fire hydrant just from all that water coming around the basement. And it'll flood your basement in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The wires was finished and it was a mess. Oh my Lord, it was a mess. And so when I took the house over and Amy and I lived there for some time, I did the same thing. I'd go out there and dig it up. If the pipe got too short, we'd add on to it. So I didn't have to dig it up for a while, and then cover back up and you have to dig it up.
Yeah.
So, we talked about those things. So those are things that I can do, but I'm looking for a truck. And so I started that last week, and, there's some pretty good buys out there on trucks right now. If you're willing to buy an older truck, which is what I need.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't need no new truck. Not for what I use it for.
Right.
But I have a task that I'm going to do, and it requires a truck. So, I've started looking. And it made me think about, I saw an article, I get a lot of stuff from Family Handyman.
Right.
And this popped up and so, but I thought it was really neat advice, because these are questions that I have, and I thought I'd share them with our listening audience this morning. With synthetic oil. I've went to full synthetic oil in every vehicle that we drive.
The last 2 cars I've had could only take full synthetic oil. They couldn't take
really
any type of hybrid or anything. They were the before the truck I have now, which I think can take just about anything you want to feed it. The other 2 I had were like newer, like Chevy, kind of like the soccer mom style car. That's just what I'd happened into, and that was one thing when I
At
got.
least you're not driving a Prius with a big daisy on the front of it like I am.
So yeah, some say that's about the same energy that my cars probably had, though. But it was when I would get them, they would say these can only take full synthetic oil,
right?
Because it'll mess it up if you put anything else in there.
Well, so I did a little research about that, because all I've known my whole life is the old men,
right,
that changed their own oil and that did their own plugs and did a valve job and did all those things when you could do that to a car and you didn't have to have a computer degree.
Correct.
Like my granddad, he had his brand of oil and that's what he used, and nothing else ever went in it.
Right.
Because that's what he believed in. His brand was Haviland. If it wasn't Haviland,
he wasn't having it.
Wasn't having it. My father-in-law, if his tractor was the tractors in his barn, and he had about 300 acres that he farmed and had a full-time farm, if they wasn't green, they wasn't in his building.
That's right.
It's just the way it was.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no other tractor as far as he was concerned, and he wasn't going to buy nothing else but that. And then folks went through that whole thing about Castrol, that was the, whatever. But so I looked at synthetic oil, and basically from what I can gather in my finite knowledge of it is synthetic oil has additives to it that help the oil to be smoother, less friction. It helps with wear. It lasts longer. It doesn't break down as quickly. But I didn't know this, Maverick. Did you know that oil has a shelf life?
I don't think I did. I think that I would have. I don't think I would have assumed it did.
I thought oil's oil.
It's just oil.
It's just oil.
Can't go bad.
Oil has a shelf life.
How long is that shelf life?
It depends on what type of oil it is.
I'm guessing the shelf life on full synthetic is a lot longer.
It is.
Yeah.
And so, and most of them have a marking on there, and it's not. The marking will say, just like a pack of hot dogs, best if used by this date.
Doesn't that imply that it could be used later, though?
It does, but and maybe that's a warranty issue.
Yeah, I would imagine,
because they're going to say it's going to break down in that can, not as fast as it does when it's in your motor,
right? But it's still breaking down. Yeah.
And I don't care what kind of equipment you're using. Chainsaw, skid steer, tractor, automobile, ditch witch. It don't matter what it is. If you're going to use equipment, you're going to have maintenance, and you're going to tear it up.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
So anything that you can do to do that is money in your pocket. All my buddies, they've always been used to seeing me drive some kind of big old honking pickup truck with, 2,500 4-wheel drive, whether a diesel or a V10 or a V8 gas, it'll pull the skid steer and do all those things I used to do because that's what I needed.
Yeah.
And then they see me in a little Prius C with a big Daisy sunflower on the front of it that my wife, it's her car, but
it's your flower.
Yeah,
right,
it's my flower. Well, literally, I'm literally driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah, there you are.
So, but that being said, they say, well, where's your man bun? And I said, I don't have a man bun, but what I can tell you is this sucker gets between 55 and 62 miles to the gallon, and that makes me real happy.
Yeah, it does.
Because if you're doing couriering, medical couriering or door dashing or whatever it is you're doing, that's money in your pocket. You're giving yourself a raise. And for a big fella, which I'm back on, I'm dropping that weight, but it's very comfortable.
Right.
Now, does it ride like a Cadillac? No, but it rides pretty good.
Yeah.
And basically, and the other thing about it's a hybrid. So I'm not into full electric vehicles. That's not my deal. I think a hybrid's is a great way to go if you're depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because you got to have the best of both worlds. And I know in my Prius, I don't have to replace the entire battery. I can replace sections.
Yeah.
And that's not very expensive. But when you have to replace that whole battery, you can be $20,000.
Yeah.
You can go online and see a one sale for $60 to $100.
Yeah.
You can live with that, So here's what I've learned over this. And like I said, I am not a mechanic. I not pretend to be a mechanic, but this is from, again, I think it was from Family Handyman. I'm not sure, but it was from some certified mechanics. So I'm just going to give you the information. The average oil change lifetime, if you just took all things considered, do you know what's average between this number of miles and this number of miles for an oil change?
I'm not sure. I've always been known to maybe get my oil change a little later than I should have, but
I do too.
I don't know. I would guess, I have no idea.
Okay. Well, in conventional oil, everybody's going to tell you 3,000 miles.
Okay.
That's the rule of thumb. So if you're using conventional oil, just regular old conventional oil off the shelf, they're going to say 3,000 miles. Synthetic oil is typically 7,500 miles to 12,000.
Yeah.
And it's either at least once every 6 months or once a year. And this is what's interesting. The factors that help you to choose whether you're doing that, and for y'all out there that's driving trucks and doing things, I think this will be helpful to you. And for those of you who are just driving your car, this will be helpful to you because it's helpful to me. So I wanted to share it. The first thing to consider is your driving conditions. Normal driving, you're going to be in that range. But if you drive less than 10 miles a day each way to work, you can go 50. You got to go back down to 5,000 miles.
And why is that?
Because of the heat. The motor gets hot and it doesn't have time to really cool.
Gotcha.
Is the reason for that. It depends on the quality of the engine.
Right.
If you buy an engine that's been running conventional oil and it's not had good oil changes, and then you take it over to, synthetic oil, then you're still kind of down around that 5,000 to 7,500 range. That has to do with the internal wear of the engine, because in conventional oil, it's going to have more friction. It's not going to be as smooth, and you're going to get internal wear. Regardless, if you're using no matter what, you should change your oil at least once every 12 months. Now, this is interesting. The magic number has been, for most things, is down about 5,000.
Yeah.
Is the magic number, with a couple of exceptions. Climate. You know, we think about our radiators. We think about putting antifreeze in there and doing those kinds of things. Extreme climate, 5,000 miles. And you should change twice a year. You should change when it starts to get, before it gets extremely hot or before it gets extremely cold.
That makes sense.
And that makes sense to me. Harsh driving conditions, if you do high speed driving, every 6,000 miles. A lot of interstate driving.
Yeah.
But if you live in Florida or Texas or California or one of those, Oregon or one of those kinds of places out west, if you're driving dusty, gravel, sandy, any kind of road that's not paved,
right,
you drop back down to 5,000. Now, this one really caught me off guard. If you drive at low speeds for long distances, 3,000 miles.
Goodness gracious.
With synthetic oil is what's recommended. Contractors, subcontractors, landscapers, people pulling equipment. If you're towing travel trailer people, you pulling that travel trailer, you doing that thing about it. All right. What you're going to do is you're going to get 4,000 miles in between changes. And that's kind of the list that I went through on learning about oil. Rick, what's your favorite? I don't know. I mean, I typically use Mobil 1 or Kindle, and that's because the guy that does my stuff, that's what he wants to use. So that's what we use. And so honestly, as long as it's got that certification on the back side of it, I guess it's probably coming out of the same plant, just like heat and air units do, without with just a different stamp and maybe a little bit different model on it. But those have been the two that I've used. I know a lot of folks use Mobil 1. So we got a caller, Maverick.
Yeah, we sure do. We have Brian from Washington. Let me go ahead and get him onto the air.
Oh, Brian, let's get Brian on there.
All right, Brian, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, brother, what's going on?
Hey, buddy, you're talking my kind of thing. They're talking about motor oil this morning.
Well, I thought you might chime in on that because I am definitely not the expert on that kind of stuff, but I know that you are.
Well, I wish I was, but I what I've found dealing with synthetic oil, there's an old saying: you put synthetic oil in your car or your hot rod or your truck, it's going to find your oil leak. Does that make sense to you?
Well, if I think about it, it does.
Yeah, yeah, and the what I have found when you're talking synthetic oil versus your normal oil, like your Kendall or your Pennzoil type of oil, what our engine builders are telling us, you can use that normal oil, but you need to make sure that you have zinc in that oil.
And what is the purpose of the zinc?
Well,
is it a corrosion issue?
Well, apparently the zinc with the wrote my notes down here. The synthetic oil, the zinc is added to that. So you run that in your old school.
Okay.
Because and zinc is and I've tried looking it up, and there's numerous things about what zinc is. I know that in my 67 GTO and my Malibu, I run an oil that's in your neck of the woods called Schaeffner's oil, racing oil.
I bet that's cheap.
I'm sorry, I lost you there.
I said, I bet that's inexpensive.
It's about $12 a quart.
Yeah.
But we I've had issues when I own my security company, and I had my Crown Vics and my SUVs, and I pulled in to the Minute Lube or the Quick Lube places, and they make you sign a waiver saying, okay, we'll put your normal 5-weight 30 in oil, but it's calling for synthetic oil. And the synthetic oil is, when you get done at 5 quarts, and is $140 versus your $27.99 for the regular oil. Yeah, so it kind of bounces. My mechanic says, as long as you change that oil, around 3,000 miles, use whatever oil you have and make sure it's got zinc in it. And I said, okay, zinc. You can actually walk into a convenience store and buy zinc in a bottle. And it's got nothing to do with the oil, but it still has something to do with the oil. It's kind of very confusing a little bit.
Well, the reason I said something about corrosion is because back in the day, when, before we had the type of roofing shingles that we have now that fight mold and mildew and moss and the stains that you see on roofs, we had what was called a shingle strip that went on the top of underneath the top layer of shingles. And so when the water ran across it, it pulled out a mineral out of the zinc that killed that stuff. And they still make them. They just, a lot of folks don't use them. And so that was my thinking, that maybe that had something to do, with corrosion. And then if you look at bolts and exterior products, nails and so forth, and so on, then you get with resistance to corrosion again. Now I can't tell who put that on there, but it says diesel motors have a lot of zinc in it. So probably Pete, my buddy Pete, because he works for Estes.
Well, and like my engine builders and the guys that I kind of hang out with, it's like, man, just change your oil, around every 3,000 miles.
Right.
And as long as, if you're not driving a brand new vehicle, and you're driving, a 2011 or 12 type vehicle, just make sure that if you're using standard oil like Pennzoil, Quaker State, Kendall, whatever, just make sure that you dump some zinc in that oil.
Well, I think that's good advice, because if Maverick's like me and I'm like Maverick, I get busy and forget to, and all of a sudden it's 4,200 miles or 5,000 miles, and oh, dang, I got to change oil in it,
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the reasons I went to synthetics, just because I knew I was going to be, that's just something I don't think about. And so I knew, but with what you're doing, with $20,000 in a motor, I'd be remembering.
Trust me, the oil sticker is on the middle of the steering wheel, not on the windshield. You know what I mean?
Tougher to miss it there.
That's good stuff, my brother. Yes, sir. Did you get that? Did you get that picture I sent you yesterday?
Yeah, about the glue. I did, and I was just curious about what your opinion was on what I sent you earlier.
But I couldn't see the name of it. Brian sent me a picture on Facebook of actually a little commercial on a glue that he saw, and asked my opinion about it. But do you remember the name of it, Brian?
I think it was alligator glue.
Could be. Yeah, there's alien glue and there's alien tape.
I've heard of alligator glue, I think.
And there's alligator glue.
Yeah.
I have tried a lot of different super glues, but the reason my favorite one, and I was going to talk about this today, but we'll just go ahead and jump into it right now. Loctite, Loctite. That's LOC-TITE. makes the best super glue that I've ever used. And Brian, I'll give you a prime example. Maverick and I were talking about this morning on the show. You know, everything I've got's old, like me, but I'm used to it and I know how to work it. My computer's old, but it does what I need it to do and I understand it. And I'm going to have to break down, but it's getting some age on it. And it's a, you know, in its day, it was the, you know, top of the line for, you know, podcasting and stuff like that. And it does a lot of things that I don't even know how to do, but I bought it because it's heavy duty. And, you know, I can throw it in my backpack and do this and do that. Well, my charger, my battery's finally kaput, but it's an internal battery. And I ain't going to be nowhere where I can't plug in because I got an inverter in every vehicle I got. And I'm going to have power. Daddy's going to have power. You know, we're going to be able to do something if it's wrong. And whatever we're driving. Well, I had dropped the computer and broke the edge of it, but it didn't hurt the computer, just cracked the edge of it. And where the port is that the power source goes into, it was loose. And so I'd be working along, not paying any attention, and next thing I know, it would disconnect and shut down. Then you got to go through the whole reboot, and you got to go through all that stuff, and you got to do everything. And I actually got tired of that, so I took me some of that Loctite, put me about 2 drops on it, put that power cord in there, and it's still there. Then the cord, I run it across the back because I didn't want it pulling on that, and I took some Loctite super glue and did that, and put it on there, and it's still stuck this morning, and it made it through the backpack. And then I've got a pair of slip-on shoes that I wear outside. You know, everybody's got that pair they mow with. You know, that old pair of tennis shoes, but mine are slip-ons that I mow with, and the rubber was coming off the bottom, just like in that video. So I cleaned it right good and put me some 4 or 5 drops of that on there and put that back on there, and it's been on there a month. So for me, and when you buy cheap super glue, I've been under the opinion that it just don't work. I've even tried that stuff that the guy puts on his hard hat. If I got a hard hat on and they sticking me to a piece of steel, baby, it better hold.
I've seen that commercial where the guy's got a hard helmet on and they stick him to a beam and they lift him up.
Absolutely. Brother Jerry Cunningham listening to us, one of my mentors, good man. Forgot more about windows than I'll ever know, and siding and home improvement, and him and his lovely bride Carolyn, and raised some good boys. Brother Jerry, good to see you this morning. Appreciate you joining us on that. He's been on the show with me before.
Outstanding, Rick. You know, I've got a quart of the Schaeffners I was talking to you about. And what it says is it's racing oil, obviously, Micron Moly 100%, 2050 with extra zinc. And you might maybe have your director there, maybe Google zinc and see what it is. But apparently that has to be in these old school motors because of the synthetic part of it.
Maverick's going to get on that right now.
I know that zinc it's a lot of times like alloyed with a lot of other metals because it doesn't corrode, which is why that's what I was guessing, because like you'll hear it like putting like nails or like especially like even like ocean like ships. Like, a lot of the old ships, like the outside is made of zinc because it'll stand up to like the corrosion of being in an ocean for hours at a time.
Yeah, and
you can put Tabasco sauce in paint. They used to do that in Panama City. This is a true story. The guys that painted the boats, repainted the boats down there, they mixed Tabasco sauce in with the paint. And when they painted the boats and the barnacles, don't like it.
All right, here's what Google has to say. Zinc is added to motor oil primarily to protect the components, especially in older engines with flat camshafts. It creates a protective layer that reduces wear and tear. And it acts as an anti-wear agent, and it cushions the valve seats and prevents oxidation, which leads to degradation and engine damage. So about everything we just said, but a little more complicated, you know?
Yeah. There you go, Brian.
Yeah, there you go. Ricky, I wanted to ask you really another quick question. I'm retired now, but
you're laying around on the couch. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. And walking my dog at 3 o'clock in the morning till 4:30 in the morning.
Have you readjusted to not having to be up all night? Are you doing something at night? Are you still doing currying?
No, well, I am, and I'm not. I'm only doing curing. What you were talking about, LabCorp. As long as they provide the vehicle, I'm not going to drive my CTSV or my '67 GTO driving around to, picking up lab samples and getting 4 miles to 12 miles to the gallon, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you.
But I gotta, what I'm seeing on these houses that I work for a gentleman that's got 2,200 homes, and his people right at this time of the year, I drive by the houses and the apartment complexes that he does, and I look at the roof, and right at this time and last week, all the roofs have white powder on them in certain areas. What is that white powder?
Well, it's one of two. It's one of two companies, and we talked about Roof Max on a previous show, and it's a coating. Roof Max uses a soybean based product that rehydrates the shingle, and that gives it additional life. We talked about them flying drones over your house and telling you need a new roof. Well, that's happening in Tennessee now. There's another company out there called Roof Savers, and they use a different product. And I've had some talks with Kerry about coming on the show, but he's got a project he's working on Saturdays, and he can't get in here for another couple of weeks. So hopefully he'll come in, and their product doesn't use that oil because he says that oil dries out and causes the shingle to curl as it's drying. They say that their product, and I don't know, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. We'll get them on, and that was Josh and Heidi from Top Septic that said diesel motors have lots of zinc in them. Appreciate them guys this morning. They do a lot for us, and they kind of got that camper ready to go for me. I'm telling you, good stuff. But anyway, so we got him out there, and both of those substances are white. Eventually the shingles will absorb them, but that's got to be what it is. I mean, I don't know of anything else that they'd be putting on it. It's going to, and obviously it's going to pull the moisture out of it first. That would be my guess, Brian, but I don't know any other thing, because that's what it looks like. I mean, it's white as white can be when they spray it. They spray it just like you spray sealer on a deck, low pressure. Now, you don't ever want to put anything high pressure on your roof, so that would be my guess.
So if you owned a home, that was built in the 40s, and, you kept up on the maintenance on the roof and things like that, would you recommend putting this on your roof?
Well, here's what I can tell you at this point. I can tell you that the insurance companies are recognizing it as an option for extension of the roof. Now, it depends on what kind of shape the roof is in. Some roofs are not applicable to it. And then, now both companies, once, Roof, let me try to get this right. Roof Max was doing minor repairs, but not doing roofing. Roof Savers will do minor repairs, and they'll redo your roof if it's what it has to be. Roof Max is going up to possibly 15 years in 5-year increments. Roof Savers is offering up to a 17-year extension on it. And I haven't had a chance until I get Kerry on to talk about his thing to be able to compare their system that's patented with the Roof Max system that's patented. Because honestly, I don't know. All I know is what the two companies have told me. So I'm going to have to dig in that and do a little bit more. But if you get another 5 years or 10 years or 15 or 17, yeah, and I'd give it a shot. And they put a warranty on it. And if the insurance company will allow it, they've done some research. So if they're going to approve it, and I know some have, and they're big name insurance companies. So for them to approve it, I would have to think that it was okay to do.
And I know what you're saying, and I'm thinking the same thing. But the gentleman that owns all these homes and apartment complexes and that kind of stuff, every year, right at this time, all of his properties and apartment complexes and rental homes all have that on their roof. So I'm thinking that
maybe it's something he's come up with. Ask him.
Yeah, it sometimes it's hard to run into a millionaire when he's hanging out with Jerry Seinfeld.
Well, you just drive that hot rod; he won't get away.
No, you got a point there. He's got a couple of Shelby Mustangs, and he kind of hangs out on our car club, that type of deal. But you can't get really close to him to ask him those type of questions. But he's got people that will answer those questions for him.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Next time you get close to one of them, ask him.
Yeah, I just figured I'd ask you too because you're an expert in this.
Well, I don't know about that, but I truly, I know a lot of things about a lot of things, but I'm learning something every day too, brother. I truly don't know.
Yeah, I totally understand, and it just kind of it threw me off a little bit, but it didn't throw me off because I've been noticing this for several years. Every time this time of the year, within the week, all his commercial properties and rental properties have all this on their roof, and it's not totally sprinkled like snow. You know what I mean? It's like hit and miss on places, on the rooftop and that kind of stuff.
I'll do some digging into it and see if I can find out if it's some kind of treatment he's putting on there. Is it in key spots like the valleys, places where water's coming in? It could be. I mean, it could be anything from. I mean, and is it shingled roofs?
You cut out. What was that?
Is it a asphalt shingle roof?
Yes. All of them are.
Man, I tell you, I don't know. Either that or are there a lot of trees around?
Yes and no. My street over, he's got a whole block of apartment complexes, and all of them have that white stuff on the top of them. And then when you roll into his storage unit, the main office has the shingles you're talking about. Same thing, and I'm thinking I don't put anything on my roof, but I want to make sure that I'm a routine maintenance kind of guy, and I try to stay up on things. Owning a hot rod, you probably would understand that. So I wasn't really sure what the heck it was, and I figured before I tried asking him or his people any kind of questions, I could get to you, and maybe you could help me out because it's easier talking to you getting to one of those guys.
I'll make some phone calls and see if I can get a response from them because, like I said, it's really new here in our part of the world. Us hillbillies, we kind of, hey boy, what are you talking about? Putting on there. I don't know about that. Papa never done that.
Yeah, my Papa never did that.
And before I let you go, Rick, sir,
yes, sir.
I just want to say to my friend Buck that this happened last night, and I'm still shooken up about it a little bit. Hanging out with my car club guys, we're old school, and we cruise around and do a little street ripping, as we call it, but nothing like you see on TV or street takeovers or anything. And my buddy. Cruising his hot rod with his wife, he had a heart attack.
Oh, goodness.
And he slammed into the curb. His heart stopped. I was a paramedic back in the 80s. I got out, tried to do what we could do, and Medic One people showed up, and he passed away.
Sorry to hear
And,
that. We'll put his family in our prayers.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate that. It shook us all up, and it wasn't anything that we were doing stupid or anything. It just, you know, it just happened, and he was in his late 60s, and it was an unfortunate deal. And the look on his wife's face, I will never forget.
Well, I guess if you got to go out, you might as well go out doing what you loved. Is she okay?
Oh yeah, she's just totally fine. You know, and I totally understand. You know, when you roll up to the street light and there's a Subaru next to you, and your heart rate picks up a little bit, and that grin comes on your face, and I totally understand that rush completely. But
yeah, I know you
putting
them Subaru brats in your dust. You know, before I let you go, I had a friend that was in his early 60s, and he was a salesman, and he was running down I-10 about 70 miles an hour and had a heart attack while he was driving. He was on the phone with another friend of mine, and he said, "Oh gosh," and phone went dead. And the same thing, he had a heart attack, went off the road and flipped about 4 times. Of course, he was dead before he ever hit before they ever got it stopped. So that's unfortunate. And unfortunately, no one else was hurt. But yeah, we'll certainly put them in our prayers.
And I really appreciate that, Rickster. And you know, we're not doing anything stupid out there. You know, we're a bunch of old men with some nice, old school hot rods. And I guess it was time for him, I guess.
Yep.
But being a paramedic several years ago, I'm used to that type of situation, but
Sure.
not anymore. And to see the look on his wife's face was, it really, really ripped me pretty bad.
Well, brother, hang in there, and we wish you the best. We got to go that next time out, and we'll talk to you later.
Hey, keep up the great work, sir. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, you got it, Brian. Always good to hear from Brother Brian in Lacey, Washington, and y'all put that man's family, Buck, and his family in your prayers. When it's unexpected like that, I've been through that, and it's hard on the family. So just pray for them and hope that they can begin to heal. And however long that takes, because everybody grieves differently, I promise you. We're going to hear from some of those folks that bring you this program, like our friends at Top Septic and August Excavations and some others. When we come right back, you know what a hedge apple is? We're going to talk about it right here on Rick's House. We'll be right back.
WSEV-FM, Gatlinburg, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee's New Mix, 105.5.
Don't wake up in the cold. Let CMG inspect and service your unit for extreme weather before there's a problem. Free estimates and second opinions. CMG Mechanical Services, LLC, 865-770-1561. 865-770-1561. Gas furnaces and heat pumps, new installations, gas lines, and gas log installations as well. CMG Mechanical Services, 865-770-1561.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
Looking for the perfect storage solution? Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage is the area's premier self-storage facility. Located next to the Home Depot at the Allensville Square Center in Sevierville, we offer climate-controlled and non-climate-controlled units, plus indoor RV and boat storage. Enjoy top-notch amenities like 24-hour surveillance and 3 covered unloading zones. Need to unload a tractor-trailer or a truck? We have a loading dock too. Sign up today and get 1 month free plus a complimentary True Shine car wash. Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage, the perfect solution for your storage needs.
Looking for a great deal on a new or used vehicle? Head to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport, Tennessee. Just a short drive from Sevierville on West Highway 2570. We've got over 100 pre-owned vehicles with a wide selection of makes and models, all at low prices. Plus, we're clearing out space for 2025 models. So now's the time to save big. Financing available for all credit types. Don't miss out. Come to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport today. Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, West Highway 2570 Newport. Your next ride is waiting.
Mountain Liquors is now open in Kodak, just off I-40 across from Buc-ee's. We're proud to be Sevier County's largest liquor store, offering local favorites, bulk, and local discounts, and the biggest selection of moonshine, beer, wine, spirits, and premium cigars. Join us for free tastings every Friday and Saturday. Order online for curbside pickup or get delivery through DoorDash and Instacart. Visit mountainliquors.com. Call 865-286-8660. Mountain Liquors, your new favorite stop in the Smokies.
Fireworks! Gorilla fireworks! Gorilla says free fireworks just for stopping in. Free Gorilla for the kids. A free $20 gift. Gorilla fireworks! The largest selection of Black Cat and M80 brand fireworks. Gorilla fireworks! The largest selection of mortars and artillery shells. 2 full floors of fireworks shopping fun. Gorilla Fireworks, next to Sexy Stuff on Highway 66, Sevierville.
When severe weather strikes, Mix 105.5 is here to provide the latest information with your severe weather alert. Brought to you by Sevier County Electric System. When you change phones, no matter if it's a landline or cell phone, make sure Sevier County Electric System has your new phone number.
Thinking real estate? 2025 is my 31st year in real estate. Call me, Terry Williams, RE/MAX Preferred Properties, 865-556-4111 or 392-5885.
What happens when you take 20 years of experience hanging metal on NASCARs and you put that into another business? The business I'm talking about, Miracle Method Resurfacing in Knoxville. My buddy Chris Stacy and his team are there for the detail. Therefore, as good as a job can get. They understand working with tight tolerances and working with a finish that has to be almost perfect. If you're thinking about redoing your countertop, maybe you're thinking about redoing that avocado green bathtub, or maybe you're thinking about that epoxy floor for your hot rod in your garage. Think nowhere else. Miracle Method of Knoxville is the place that can help your dreams come true about that new tile surface or any other finish in your home. Call them today, 865-693-5522. 865-693-5522. Tell them Rick's House sent you.
Don't wake up in the cold. Let CMG inspect and service your unit for extreme weather before there's a problem. Free estimates and second opinion. CMG Mechanical Services, LLC, 865-770-1561. 865-770-1561. Gas furnaces and heat pumps, new installations, gas lines, and gas log installations as well. CMG Mechanical Services, 865-770-1561. FM. Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House. 105.5 The Mix. Saturday morning going to be a nice one today. It's good because this fat boy's got stuff he needs to do outside, and hopefully it won't be in the 80s. I'll be going, whoo, Lord, bring my chair. It's hot out here.
Absolutely.
Be sweat on the outside of the iced tea glass, I'm telling you. Lots to do today. Hedge apple. You know what a hedge apple is?
I don't.
Well, when I was a kid, growing up in the country, a hedge apple is a fruit that grows on a tree that kind of looks, what's that cartoon character that looks like he's made out of rock? He's one of the superheroes.
The Thing.
The Thing.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks like his head, but it's green, and it's about the size of a softball.
Oh, yeah.
It's got little bumps all over it, and it's big.
Those grew outside one of my grandparents' houses.
Yeah, it's a hedge apple. And as far as I know, it's not edible.
Right.
Don't know that much about the hedge apple.
Yeah.
But they sure were fun to shoot.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did a lot of hedge apple target practice. And then I'd lay on my back under we had a great old big walnut tree, and you find two walnuts together up there and see if you take a 22 and see if you can knock them both down by hitting it in the middle. You know, just country boy fun.
Yeah.
Of course, we was on a huge farm, so, I mean, we didn't have a huge farm. We just had 16 acres, but there's 300 behind me. So, so I never did think too much about it coming back down. As far as I know, didn't get no cows.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had an influx of spiders in our house it's been about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Little jumping spiders and old hairy wolf spider. Old wolf spiders, mean looking.
Yeah.
They just look like they just tear you up.
Yeah, apparently they're totally harmless. But
Totally harmless,
they look.
that's the stuff nightmares are made out of. I'm telling you, spiders. What as he said, I don't like spiders and snakes, and that ain't what it takes to love me. But anyway, and so I was reading yesterday, and there's, you know, you hear all these country things growing up, all these myths and all these things that you hear, and lots of them work. You know, carpenter bees. Carpenter bees are hard to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And they bore into all these log cabins and stuff up here. They bore in there, and then they lay their eggs, and they leave a pheromone in there so they know where to come back to next year to do that. And if you've got a water source nearby, then that will attract them, like a bird bath or, you know, swimming pool or anything like
we
that.
used to fill those with caulk. We would just take caulk and like put them up in there and smooth it out. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what we used to do is, Jerry's got a question for us. Jerry, hang on, brother. We'll get to you on that. Hang on. But anyway, I take a board and make sawdust, just cut steaks or whatever, and make some sawdust. Then take a sawdust and put the poison in it with some wood glue, and then plug the hole.
Right.
And then that way, when the youngins went to eat their way out,
it poisoned. Yeah.
Or eat their way back in.
Right.
So that and swatting them with I'm gonna get calls, Lord, swatting them with a badminton racket. But anyway, they're destructive.
Yeah.
Because they don't just bore straight. They bore in and then turn and go way back in there. They do a lot of damage, and it's a big hole, you know. So anyway, so I was reading, and I thought, well, what's a hedge apple good for? You know, sometimes you wonder why the good Lord Jesus made such a thing.
Right.
But he did. But anyway, and the article said, if you take a hedge apple, they did a test where they took hedge apples and they cut them in slices, but you got to keep them away from kids and you got to keep them away from pets because it's bad for them. It's poisonous. To see if it would repel spiders. Well, spiders, they couldn't really tell if it seemed to have some effect, but they couldn't really
tell if they if it worked or not. But what they did say is that hedge apples, like down in your basement or somewhere where kids can't, number one, kids can't get to it, and pets, but it does repel German cockroaches, mosquitoes, and fleas.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your natural remedy for those kinds of things. Brother Craig Henney, Dr. Craig Henney joins us in the chat room. Homburg Chiropractic in Bearden. He has kept me in the upright position for so many years. Knows his business. Matter of fact, Doc, I sent you somebody last week. Brett from RVEE has injured his back. He's a former baseball player. Big boy. Looks like a football player.
Yeah.
Baseball player, but you may be getting a call from him. But Dr. Henney will take care of you. And he'll tell you, he'll say how long it's going to take to fix you. And he's got this thing that looks like a rolling pin, and it's that's sliced. He run that thing all over me. It's the most awful feeling in the world. It's what the devil does to you if you go to the bad place. I asked him one time, I said, what in the world does that thing do? He said, nothing. He said, it has no medicinal purpose whatsoever. I just like to watch you squirm. But yeah, y'all check out Homburg Chiropractic, and he does a whole lot of things that can help you. I was on Vioxx and everything else, and was just I'd be walking along and it pinched my sciatic nerve, and I was on my face.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, it's going to take me about 4 months to fix you, and it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. And that's been 20 years ago, and I haven't had it since.
Yeah.
So he knows his business, and he's a good feller. He's a little ugly, but so am I. So there you go, brother. Y'all go see him. I'm going to ignore that Bearcats that you put up there. But anyway, Brother Jerry Cunningham, mentor of mine. Morning, Rick. I need some advice on a drain field that is showing some wet grass at the end of it. I hope we don't have to replace it. That's a fantastic question, Jerry, and I'm going to tell you, lots of times, the first thing that I'm going to recommend to you is you need to pick up the phone this morning, and you need to call Top Septic Service. Now, Top Septic is great friends of this program. These are Christian folks. These are outstanding people. And we don't just consider them sponsors, we consider them friends. And Josh will come out there, and he'll look at that, and he'll tell you what has to be done. Certified to put drain fields in, but also certified to repair them. It could be, it could be something as simple as you've got your tank. How long has it been since that tank's been drained, cleaned out? They do that. Maybe a crossover's collapsed because your house has been there for a little while, and they did septic tanks a little bit different than that. But I absolutely can tell you that when it comes to drain fields, they're the best in the country, and they're fair. They're going to treat you like I'd treat you. Now they'll treat you better than that. But Jerry's one of my dear friends, and he's a mentor. So I'll be happy to hook you up with him. Yeah, you got my number, but their number is 865-599-1690. And they'll answer today, 865-599-1690, Top Septic. Be sure and tell them you're friends of ours. And let them come out there and take a look. And Josh will be able to tell you. I mean, he'll know exactly by looking at it what's going on. And he'll be able to tell you, what has to be repaired and or what has to happen. But probably start with pumping. would be the deal on that, and that's about $375 usually to have it pumped. So that's my recommendation, sir. And let me know. Call me after the show if or I'll give them your number or whatever you'd have me do. We'll make it happen. Get that done, and that's what we do.
Right.
We got a great group of people that, and people ask me, Rick, how do you get sponsors for your show? Who are these people that you talk about? Well, let me tell you how I do that. And this may be a little different, but it's the way I do it. All Clear Plumbing, Will Farrell. His name's Will Farrell. 865-443-7752. Licensed plumber. Lives in our neck of the woods. Josh and Heidi right down here in Mascot, Kodak, close to us. Really, Straw Plains, I guess, is probably where they are. But you invite these, a lot of them I meet because I have them come out to do something for me. And then we get to talking and I see that those are the kinds of folks based on how they treated me and then we invite them on the show.
Right.
And we talk about it. And then if it's good for them and good for me, and we do that for free. So, all these people that I'm talking to, they'll come on the show one time for free. I don't charge them. And then we'll see how it goes from there. And if things check out and they want us to help them grow their business and we want to help grow their business and everybody likes everybody and we feel good about it, then you'll hear me talking about it. Now, you're also going to hear commercials from the radio station. And those commercials, I may or may not know those folks. But we've got an outstanding sales team here, which they're looking to expand.
True.
And they're looking for the best of the best out there, too. So if you utilize someone from the radio station, especially from Rick's House, or from the radio station, let us know. We want to know. And let them know how you heard about us or how you heard about them. Because it's about getting good quality companies like Top Septic, veteran-owned, fantastic folks, doing the right thing. And then Joshua has an excavation company called August Excavation that you hear about on here too. And I've seen him do some stuff with the mini track hoe that I just sat back and was in awe. And I can run the mini track hoe pretty good, but I can't run it that good.
Right.
Knows his business. So that's how you handle that. And we've got great sponsors, Cozy Mountain Cabins. Anita, we had her on a couple of times in the last couple of months. And, she's got cabins, got some new cabins out there. And if you're looking for a place, if you're down here staying and you're listening to me this morning, and maybe next time you come back, you're looking for a different place to stay because you just want to try a different part of the neighborhood, I can guarantee you Cozy Mountain Cabins is going to take care of you. And you can reach Anita. You can call her. You can go to CozyMountainCabins.com or you can call her 865-660-0340. 865-660-0340. If you miss any of this, you can always call the radio station. I'm not here much during the week. Or you can email me at Rick's House Radio, just like it sounds, no apostrophe, nothing like that, Rick's House Radio @gmail.com, and I'll be happy to put you together with these folks, whether it's Old City Kitchens or Knoxville Salvage or CMG Mechanical or Weekend RV Center or Miracle Method. Man, what a great job Miracle Method does redoing that garage floor. Or I've got a situation where I've got a tub that's got a crack in it. They're going to come take care of that for me. And not only that, they're doing cabinet resurfacing, countertops. If it's avocado green and you want it to be pearly white, they can make that happen. And their attention to detail is phenomenal. There is no such thing as perfect, but they can get awful doggone close. And so Miracle Method, y'all, 865-693-5522. So we do. We got great folks. Homburg Chiropractic, we got a lot of good folks, and we're proud to talk to you about them, and we appreciate you doing that. Let's see who else is listening to us this morning. Maverick running the board for me today. Tammy, good to see you in here this morning, girl. Appreciate that. Hope y'all are doing real good. And of course, Brother Jerry and a bunch more. Melissa and Pete and all that kind of stuff. So, good stuff on the program. We talked a little bit about those hedge apples, but one of the things that Jeffrey Goin, good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us on the program. When I was building houses and remodeling, nothing made me madder than to roll up on the job site and see a burn barrel. Burn barrel's okay.
Right, yeah.
But with 2-foot pieces of 2x4 in there, that ain't okay.
No.
Because we can be using that for dead wood, for sheetrock. We can be using that for a lot of things. We can be using that to build headers over non-low bearing doors and stuff. And you won't see a big man get upset. That's money wasted.
Yeah.
And burning pressure treated, don't do it. Don't do it. So what are some things that we shouldn't burn, Maverick? I don't know. Do we need to take another time out?
I mean, we're good.
We're good.
Yeah,
we're good. Okay, well, you kind of keep me on track on that because I don't have my clock with me today. I'm just doing my thing. Let me get my spectacles out here.
Well, like I said, you can burn just about anything you want if you try hard enough.
You can, but there's some things that you shouldn't because we lived at the beach and people burning driftwood.
Right.
Terrible thing to burn.
And why is that?
It's full of salt.
Right.
And salt, when you do that, and other minerals, when you burn that, it creates a smoke that inhaled is not good for you at all.
Right. I would imagine that has to do with maybe the chemical compound of salt and like the gas that it creates when you heat it to a certain extent.
Absolutely. Driftwood, not a good idea. Greenwood. Now, if you can get it to burn, sometimes you have to, but if you can get it to burn, get ready for the smoke.
Right.
Because it's full of moisture, and if you get it hot enough to throw a piece of greenwood on there, it's going to smoke to high heaven because it's got to get that. Same reason if you're making tacos and you're trying to boil the water down so you can get that taco meat just right. I like to talk about food.
Yeah. I love food. Let me tell you.
I can eat about what I want to. I just can't eat much of it since my surgery. So we don't want to do that. And the reason, and we talked about construction wood. Now, up until 2000, a lot of pressure treated lumber was treated with arsenic. And it started off with salt treatment. That ain't no good. You burn that, that's not good for you. Then they started treating it with arsenic. And the arsenic, I had a friend who was working on the deck in Florida, and he got a big splinter in the palm of his hand, right at his thumb. And he actually got arsenic poisoning from that.
Yeah.
And it caused him a lot of difficulty until they got that out of his system. So we don't want to do that. Lots of construction products like little pieces of OSB and plywood and all those kinds of things, they burn great because they're dry.
Right.
But they're put together with glue.
That's the same
and
with
solvents.
The same with just like cardboard, right? Cardboard itself, it burns super easy.
Yep.
But
it's got glues and all kinds of things in there, chemicals all through the process. So, and the other thing is old furniture. Man, you talking about putting off some toxic smoke.
Yeah, I believe that we did that one time when I was a kid. Just somebody wasn't thinking about it. We had an old piece of furniture.
Oh, listen, when I was a kid, I burned anything I could burn. Exactly. It didn't matter what it was. I burned it.
Fire's fun, man.
Probably ate a hot dog over
it. Yeah, but I remember
heated up a can of beanie weenies. Come on.
I remember that black smoke coming up off of it, and we were all me and my brothers were sitting there. And we were like, I don't think I've ever seen wood do it like that. Like, I don't think. I don't know how we're still here, but couldn't have been good.
You drank out of a water hose with a lead fitting on the end.
That's right. Yeah.
Something I never thought about: wood pallets.
Yeah, they got all the nails and glues and stuff holding them together.
They do, and they're treated with chemicals to preserve them.
Yeah,
for a period of time.
Well, those have to hold up for a while.
They have to hold up. A lot of toxicity in wood pallets. Now, this is something that I thought I had never heard this in all my days, and I grew up working on my father-in-law's lumberyard and working on his farm. And so he had a lot of non-local wood species and zebra wood, all kinds of woods. I can't even remember the names of them. But did you know that some of those exotic woods, when you burn them, they attract insects?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I learned that this past week.
That's interesting.
And they're considered to be poison. If it's rotten and moldy, don't burn it.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, black mold is bad for you.
Yeah,
just mildew's bad for you. You put in smoke
in the
for
air,
and breathe it in. It's not a good thing. And the other thing that we forget about all the time, and I've done this at the end of a outdoor party, and don't burn them plastic plates and styrofoam cups, brother. That stuff puts off a gas that is no good.
I think that I've burned more of those than anything else than any wood I've ever burned too.
Oh, sure. We lived on the farm. We burned everything except stuff that would explode.
Right, exactly.
So you gotta,
and then maybe just a few of those too. So.
Yeah. Well, we did. That's always fun. Boom!
Yeah.
All right, went to Lysol can. There's some paint left in that.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Now, earlier we were talking about spiders.
That's true.
And my wife has taught me this. And when we lived out west, we learned a lot of things. Because the culture's different. We learned a lot of things we didn't like. Things we're not going to do.
Right.
But we also learned a lot about essential oils.
My grandmother has got to be the number one spokesperson for essential oils. I remember during COVID, she was handing them out to me and telling me how they would improve my immune. I'm sure that there's scientific backing to this, but
that's where it all started.
Yeah, but it's just
herbs and essential oils from those herbs and all that kind of stuff. I had a allergic reaction. I've talked about this, to a medicine that they put me on. And I was starting to develop what's called Stevens-Johnson's disease. I got some big sores.
Right.
Bad. Quarter size. Ouch.
Yeah.
Ricky don't like. And my wife said, let me work on that. And she put a concoction together and some Vaseline and put that on me. And in 2 days, it was gone.
Yeah, I was going to say, I do give that some credence. I'm a cancer survivor, and when I was going through chemo,
congratulations.
Well, thank you. When I was going through chemo, I remember that nothing quite would beat the nausea. Quite like they had a peppermint one, and they would like sprinkle it in these little cups on like cotton balls, and like I would just like inhale it, smell it, and whenever I would feel nauseous. And I remember that it helped. It helped more than any of the anti-nausea medication that I was ever on.
I've got a dear friend who's 6'7", and he's going through, and they've found a new technique. And there's a GoFundMe page for him. His name's Lloyd Kelly. He's as fine a man as ever walked the face of this earth. And there's a GoFundMe page over there if you just look him up, because he can't work. And he's got this new treatment he's doing, and his wife has developed some health issues, and she's not been able to work.
Right.
And these are hardworking people. So I would recommend if you look them up on Facebook, and if you can, it's going to a great cause. He's got a 14-year-old at home. He's my age, was in my high school class. Hoping to get better enough to go back to work in the funeral business, which is what he does. So if you can, anything helps the cause, because that's, as you well know, a whole lot more than me. That's a rough road, but the good news is he got to the University of Tennessee, and there's some new treatments that are working for him.
Well, that's good.
And they're thinking they may be adding him another 15 years or so. So
that's awesome.
We're praying for that. And Brother Lloyd, if you're listening, we're going to shout it from the rooftops, because he's a good one. They also have lost a child. as we lost 2. And so, yeah, you got to can't always take, brother. Sometimes you need to be given.
It's true.
Brother Will Farrell, All Clear Plumbing. Yes, sir. Licensed and insured and all that kind of stuff. He don't care to get dirty. 865-443-7752. You're going to hear some commercials from him coming up this week and next week's show. Just get down there and make it happen. I like him. He's going to be in the fold. So we've got that going on. Now, speaking of spiders and peppermint oil.
I see where this is going now.
Spiders hate peppermint oil.
Interesting.
They absolutely, positively hate it. And it is probably one of the best natural repellents that you can use. And I know a lot of folks are interested in that if you have pets and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about peppermint oil. Now, it'll set you on fire if you ain't careful.
Absolutely.
There's certain places peppermint oil don't go.
Right.
I learned that the hard way. But yeah, but it has its place.
Absolutely.
So essential oils, I'm telling you, get the good stuff. Don't skimp. Get the good stuff.
Just a few drops of that stuff they put in the cup for me, though. Like, I'd go in and I'd smell it and it'd make my eyes water. Like, I mean, it's just a few drops of it will do the trick for just about anything you need.
Yeah. And it's healthy.
Yeah.
You ain't hurting yourself. It's
right.
Good for your body. We're going to take that next time out. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you about something else that repels spiders. And then we're going to start talking about foundations in the last part of the show today. There's still plenty of time. You can reach out to us on the Miracle Method message line. Just send us a text message. We'd love to hear from you. 865-255-3911. Or you can call in the studio at 865-932-7449, 865-932-7449. If you got a question you don't want to talk, that's fine. If you got a question that's completely off what we're talking about, that's fine. I'd love to talk about it. Because let me tell you something, y'all. The only question that's a silly question is the one you don't ask, because there's 5,000 more people listening to us out there that would like to know the answer, but they ain't going to call neither.
It's true.
So
be the one that calls.
Be the one that calls. Be the one that texts us. I might start giving stuff away. Maybe next week we can do that. We'll see what we can come up with. I got some. We'll work on that. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how many gallons of water do your washing machine use? And if you're traveling and camping, or if you're in a national park where you have to use a honey wagon, how do you manage that? We're going to talk about that coming up. That don't happen nowhere but right here, Saturday mornings, 105.5 The Mix, Rick's House. Stay tuned, y'all.
WSEV-FM, Gatlinburg, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee's New Mix, 105.5.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. And let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Popper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite.
Hey, y'all, being from the country, I've learned one thing for sure. The difference in experience can make the difference between a good job and a bad. That's why we choose August Excavation for all your excavation needs. Whether it's pouring a footing, laying out a footing, pouring a concrete driveway, excavating a basement, or whatever your excavation needs may be. August Excavating. Call them today, 423-736-1402. 423-736-1402.
Looking for the perfect storage solution? Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage is the area's premier self-storage facility. Located next to the Home Depot at the Allensville Square Center in Sevierville, we offer climate-controlled and non-climate-controlled units, plus indoor RV and boat storage. Enjoy top-notch amenities like 24-hour surveillance and 3 covered unloading zones. Need to unload a tractor-trailer or a truck? We have a loading dock too. Sign up today and get 1 month free plus a complimentary True Shine car wash. Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage, the perfect solution for your storage needs.
The all-new Mix 105.5 is looking for 2 great people to join our sales staff. If you are energetic and highly motivated to achieve all the goals you have, we want to talk to you today. Don't let your previous jobs hold you back from finding out how rewarding a position at Mix 105.5 can be. Base plus commission gets you started. Go to Mix1055.com, look for the Work With Us button. Again, that's Mix1055.com and work with us. East Tennessee Radio Group at Mix 105.5 or equal opportunity employer. Start your new career today. Mix1055.com. Work with us. Do it now.
Looking for a great deal on a new or used vehicle? Head to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport, Tennessee. Just a short drive from Sevierville on West Highway 2570. We've got over 100 pre-owned vehicles with a wide selection of makes and models, all at low prices. Plus, we're clearing out space for 2025 models. So now's the time to save big. Financing available for all credit types. Don't miss out. Come to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport today. Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, West Highway 2570 Newport. Your next ride is waiting.
When severe weather strikes, Mix 105.5 is here to provide the latest information with your severe weather alert. Brought to you by Sevier County Electric System. When you change phones, no matter if it's a landline or cell phone, make sure Sevier County Electric System has your new phone number.
Get ready to feel lucky at Sexy Stuff. Spring is back, and so are the must-have mystery boxes with exciting, colorful toys and surprises. Sexy Stuff on Highway 66 in Sevierville. Join the fun and get lucky. Sexy Stuff. We've got the stuff.
2025, a time for new beginnings. Whether you want to buy a home or sell a home, call me. I can help. Terry Williams, 865-556-4111 or 392-5885.
Broadcasting from the new Blaylock Company studios of Mix 105.5. The Blaylock Companies, part of East Tennessee's growth since 1962. For all your road construction, ready mix, and building materials, please call 865-453-2808.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you, I know a little something about mobility issues. I know a little something about taking care of mom and dad and grandparents and things you do when you're supposed to. That's why I trust Chris and his team at Miracle Method. They've got a safety package. A safety package that converts that tub in your house, but the main thing is it's going to give them an easy step in. It's going to give them grab bars that are added right. It's going to give them the flexibility to have that independence and you the knowledge of knowing that you've taken care of mom and dad. Miracle Method. Find them online today. Miracle Method. 865-693-5522. Where safety is a priority. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
$20.25, a time for new beginnings. Whether you want to buy a home or sell a home, call me. I can help. Terry Williams, 865-556-4111 or 392-5885.
Broadcasting from the new Blaylock Company studios of Mix 105.5. The Blaylock Companies, part of East Tennessee's growth since 1962. For all your road construction, ready mix, and building materials, please call 865-453-2808.
That's Skip's favorite part when he's here producing for us. He's on vacation, enjoying himself. Probably at the Soggy Dollar, doing his thing. They're on a cruise, so good for them. Hey, good to see you, David and Lord. Appreciate you guys joining us in there. Tammy, everybody's Brian, the whole gang, Doc, Brother Jerry, and everybody else that I can't see. A lot of times I don't see y'all. If y'all ask me something in here, sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. I ain't ignoring you. I just don't see it. We were talking about peppermint oil and the many uses of essential oils. And my wife when she went out west, they use a lot of that, and she picked that trade up. And I mean, I'm telling you, that natural stuff, man, it works if you know how to combine it and which oil does what. And of course, you were talking about that too, Maverick. And so, it's something neat. Now, I'm going to brag on Brother Maverick because I have a product that I'm going to talk about now for the repelling of spiders. And I looked at that word and said, we don't say it in Gibbs. And so I spelled it. It's DIATOMACEOUS. And Will, I don't know why I won't call you Will, but Maverick said.
I said that would be diatomaceous.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
He said, can I see that? And I said, yeah. He said, oh, that's diatomaceous. So we Googled it on diatomaceous earth is what it's called on Google, how to pronounce it. And the guy said diatomaceous. So, man, go ahead. That's what I'm talking about. That sounds like something bad, don't it?
It does, yeah. A little bit, yeah.
Diatomaceous earth is a product that you can get on Amazon. Now, I don't know if they sell it in the big box stores or anything like that, but basically, it's a product that is a form of rock, and so and what you do with this stuff is it's all natural, but spiders hate it because when you put it around where they're coming in the house and when they're coming through cracks and crevices, and just like anything, if you're trying to keep water out of your house, you're trying to keep bugs out of your house or wind out of your house or anything else you're trying to keep out of your house, if there's a crack or a crevice or a door sweep or a window, weather stripping or something like that that's not working properly, something's coming in. Yeah, because it likes it better in than it does out.
And you can get it at Home Depot.
Home Depot Supply,
Lowe's, Rural King, about anywhere you want, yeah.
You say, well, Rick, what is it that the spiders don't like? The shell of it, the little pieces of shell in it from the rock, scrapes the spider's exoskeleton and irritates them. So when they get in it, they're like, oh, that's not good. Let's get out of here. So that's my understanding. What's it? Will you see something else on it?
I'm reading on it right now. It's made out of fossilized remains of diatoms, which is where the name comes from.
What's a diatom?
It's some type of algae. It looks like, just from what I'm gathering.
Right.
Here.
I remember it's a form of algae.
But apparently it's used in insecticides, but it's also used for filtration aid. So like maybe like a water filtration or something. I'm not sure
like
what.
you use charcoal.
Yeah. But it's also used in metal polish and toothpaste. Toothpaste. Yeah.
So I get them pearly whites
and cat litter. It's about using everything. I'm waiting to see what you can't use it in.
How about that? So that's good stuff on the program. You don't get that nowhere else on Saturday morning, I promise you. Ain't nobody else talking about diatomaceous earth.
Hey, you killed it that time. There you go.
I'm in there now. That'll be a word I'll throw out from time to time.
And explosives. It's used in explosives too.
Really?
Apparently it's a little bit of a mixture. It's used in dynamite.
Well, I don't blow that cat litter box up.
I mean either. This is interesting to read about.
Oh, you learn something all the time. That's something. By the way, I want to remind y'all that I'm trying to get somebody on from Lifetime Products in corporate, and it's a busy time of year and all that kind of stuff. But June, the warehouse over in Mascot, their next warehouse sale for products over there, and this is where you can get a heck of a deal, is June 19th, 20th, and 21st. The warehouse sale at Lifetime Products, and they'll put out. You can sign up for their for your email, and they'll send you out what products they got and how much they are, and it's a huge savings. Because I don't know if you've purchased a kayak lately, but they are not cheap. And I know you dig kayaks.
Kayaks are fun. They're not cheap though.
You know the one I want, the fishing kayak with the pedals.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And it's got the little paddle wheel on the back.
Yeah, you don't just start. You don't have to row it or anything. You just be fishing and just
be fishing. Yeah. It's got the fish holders, rod holders, and yeah, that's working for me. So we're going to do that now. Talk a little bit about RV stuff to this finish us up here that I haven't talked about today. Many campgrounds out there, and I would say 98% of campgrounds in national parks have electric and water, but do not have full sewer hookups. They'll have dump stations. If you're going to stay there for a period of time, and you can stay there up to, in most national parks, you can stay up there, in there for up to 14 days by buying a permit. Out west, you can stay up to 7 months, and they've got a permit out there. If you get out in Arizona, like in Corside or over in California, and there's even some in New Mexico out there where they have a water station and they have a dump station, but you got to live off the grid, have your own power, which is solar's good out there. There's a new product out there that you put on your alternator that shuts off. It will recharge your batteries if you've got like a Jackery or a generator or one of those products. There's another one, Blue Eddy. And those things have come a long way from where they were. But you can actually start your car, and when you're driving, you can charge, and it will charge it 5 times faster than the sun.
Interesting.
And so that those products are available to you. And you can stay 7 months during the season in one of those parks for $175 total.
Whew. That's
cheap living.
That's cheap, man.
That's cheap living. And you're on the fringe. I mean, especially in the high desert. There's some places in this on this world that we ain't been yet that we want to go. One of them's Alpine, Texas.
Yeah.
That's a place that we'd really like to visit. Got offered a radio thing down there, but that's just too far. But anyway, who knows? We might do it anyway. Just do it from here.
Yeah.
Because we like our home on 105.5 The Mix.
That's right.
We like it here. Like everybody here. It's a good place to be. I'm going to be here. But anyway, so you can do that. Now, what does that mean? That means unless you have a portable dump tank that you can use a macerator pump to pump up into your truck, and you got it in there and you take that and then dump it into the dump station, which you can do that.
Right.
If they don't do that and they don't have a dump station, then they'll have what's called a honeypot. Well, honeypot is a small, like our friends at Top Septic for campgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And they go around and they can pull the solids out of your black tank and liquids, and then then flush your gray tank, and they can do that. And there's a fee. And it got its name. Honeypot got its name from. I'm gonna have to speak quick. From back in the days when towns were being built, but they had to deal with the waste. So what they did is the bathrooms and the waste that they did, they put it in whiskey barrels.
Mm-hmm.
And then when those whiskey barrels got full, they put a lid on them, and then they'd take them out to wherever in the desert or dump them, and then come back and do that over. There was a service did on a wagon. Well, they got the name honeypot because the leftover whiskey in the barrels turned that stuff into a honey-looking substance.
Right.
And that's hence the name honeypot. So if you're going to manage that, you need to know that we have a portable washing machine. It averages 5 gallons of water per load.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got a 40-gallon tank, you know how many loads you can wash.
Right.
And then you're full. And that's your gray tank. And that don't count showers, sinks, and all that kind of stuff. So just a little tip of knowledge. We'll talk more about that next week. We've run out of time, folks. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. Stay tuned for the Real Estate Show, and then following that, the Law Show.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have some great information for you. God bless you. Hug those babies. Say a prayer for Buck's family as he had a heart attack out and passed. And go find my friend Lloyd Kelly's GoFundMe page and put something in there to help his family as well, because he'd do it for you. Maverick, excellent job today. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right. If you need me during the week, rickshouseradio@gmail.com. God bless you. We love you. We'll see you next week.
$20.25, a time for new beginnings. Whether you want to buy a home or sell a home, call me. I can help. Terry Williams, 865-556-4111 or 392-5885.
Hello, everybody. This is Terry Williams with Remax Preferred Properties and
Pam Harwell with Remax Preferred Pigeon Forge.
Pam, we have got royalty among us today.
Yes.
We have got the head honcho of Remax Preferred Properties, and